Hey guys! So as I've mentioned before, I'll be participating in the Vlogbrothers book reading club of Fahrenheit 451 in honor of Ray Bradbury's death. Before I talk about the book, I just want to mention that I haven't read any of his works before, and I also hadn't really heard of him until he died, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So Fahrenheit 451, if you don't know, takes place in a future society where all books are banned. The main character, Montag, is a fireman, but in this world, firemen set fires instead of putting them out. Any house with books must be burned, and their owners sent to prison. For the first part of the book club, we had to read the first part of the book, The Hearth and the Salamander. I will be talking about plot points, so if you haven't read the book, you might not want to watch the whole thing. In John's video, he mentioned how everything is both alive and dead. Machines are like animals. There's a snake and a hound that at times seem more alive than the actual characters. The people in the book seem like empty shells, especially Montag's wife. For a while, the only image we have of her is lying in bed listening to radio or music or something like that, just like a zombie, with eyes wide open. His wife is the opposite of the other female character, Clarice. Clarice is young and what John described as a manic pixie dream girl who is full of fire and loves to smell things like grass and just notice things and actually have meaningful conversation with people. Because apparently in this world people have become so obsessed with technology and consuming media that life has ceased to be meaningful for them and they haven't even realized. It sounds a bit like today, but I don't think the prevalence of technology interferes with our ability to have a meaningful life. I think for the most part it definitely enhances our life and gives us the opportunity to meet people we never knew, like interacting through this video and this book club. And plus, very, very, very few people have entire rooms that are TVs as big as the wall. It's been a while since I've seen MTV Cribs, but I'm sure at least one celebrity has something like that. So as far as what I actually think of the book, I'm not quite sure yet. The writing is definitely different from what I usually read and a bit abstract. And it also seems like there are a lot of adjectives, which is a weird thing to point out, but I noticed pretty quickly. Not that that's bad, I mean a book without adjectives would probably be pretty boring, and this book is definitely interesting. I haven't really connected to the characters too much because they do seem pretty empty, but things are getting more interesting and people are getting more like actual people. We find out that the young girl Montag met, Clarice, has planted a thought inside of his brain that maybe he's not actually happy. At first he tells her, well, of course I'm happy. But then later he admits to himself that he really isn't. And he has this secret urge to read the books that he burns, and ends up stealing one from the job site. Then we find out that he has a whole vent full of books that he has stolen over the years. So I'm definitely interested to see if he gets caught, and what happens to him and his wife, and if he ever goes back to work, and ultimately if they find happiness. Another thing that John brought up was the sort of things that we today find happiness in, and he asked us about the sort of things that make our life worth living and make us feel alive. He answered that talking about the book with us made him feel very alive, and that yeah, nature and flowers are great, but there are bugs with diseases and stuff, and so the outside isn't always really that great. So what makes me happy and makes me feel alive? My family and I go on a lot of hikes together with our dog. I really enjoy that because we get to travel a lot, even if it's just locally, and discover all of these places that we never knew existed, like conservation areas and parks and things like that. Parts of the world that we had never been to or even known about. And we just get to spend time together, which is great. Also, it might be a bit odd to say, but reading definitely makes me feel alive. Even though I'm temporarily existing in this other world and living the life of this other character, I'm still learning things and having experiences. I really love the Song of Ice and Fire quote, where I think Tyrion or someone else said that a reader lives 1,000 lives, while a person who doesn't read lives only one life. But anyways, hiking and reading and friends and Zelda make my life meaningful. So what makes your life meaningful? What makes you a Clarice and not a Montag's wife whose name I can't really remember because she's so boring? I have a feeling that I'll remember her name after the next section though. So thanks for watching, and John, I'll see you whenever you upload the next video. Bye!